tell you what, let's try the lion pose because we are the lion city.
The whole thing is lion. Like this.
Cool.
Yes. Yeah.
My name is Savita and I'm from Singapore History Consultants. I'm the Executive Director there. Can I have your name, please?
My name is Lakshman Shanker Devar. I study statistics.
Okay, what class are you in?
I am in P3C.
PC. Wow, you look much older than that. My kaki is called Singapore History Consultants. And we do a lot of work with heritage, culture, parts. Do you remember going to a sort of a tour? Which place did you visit?
One museum. What do you do exactly?
The most involved thing that I do is I help curate lots of programs like heritage trails and workshops. One of our programs is a series of heritage trails for students like yourself. We take students to Kampung Glam, Chinatown, to India, World War II sites, and a lot of these programs are learning about who we are. And we also do a lot of programs which have a lot to do with art. So I have over here some of the workbooks that we created for sculpture walks. This one is of the Katong Kallang area. Have you ever been to the sports hub in Kallang? So most people go there to play badminton or jog around the circuit. But actually there are lots of sculptures there that you can learn about. And there's another very interesting historic place in Singapore called Fort Canning Hill. It's very, very old. So according to our history, we believe that people once lived there in a royal palace 700 years ago. And if you walk around the park, you can come across a lot of artworks. So when we take students to Fort Canning, for example, we learn about the history of 700 years ago of the Forbidden Hill when we had kings living on that hill for a long time. So, Lakshman, I hear that you actually practice a very interesting form of Indian martial arts. Can you tell me what they're called?
It's actually three. The first one is Kalaripayattu. Then the second one is Silambam, where we use the stick and spin. The last one is Adimurai. They use like sequences to defend and attack, and also sometimes they attack the animal eaters.
How old were you when you first started?
Around 5 or 6.
And what interested you in joining Kalaripayattu, Silambam?
I wanted to learn how to attack and defend myself.
Were you worried that people might actually attack you?
Yes.
Really? Okay. So that was what you started with, but when you learned all the moves and the tactics for defense, did you also start understanding more about how this martial arts started in India?
Yes. When they came in Singapore, my teacher said they used to live around the riverside park. Then they started having more kids join here.
Were there many students doing this together with you?
From around my age was me 3.
So special. Were you the youngest one?
Yes, I was there.
That's a really special interest that you have. I understand that Kalaripayattu is actually one of the oldest martial arts in the entire world, because I actually decided to do a bit of research before I met you so that I know the special martial art form that you practice. Can I show you something? I came across this really interesting item. It's actually from China. It's actually a snuff bottle. But if you look at it, can you see that there is an old man and lots of Chinese words which have been painted actually from inside the bottle. So it's a beautiful work of art. And this man is actually a very famous Buddhist monk. And apparently, according to this story, he used to practice Kalaripayattu. He came from South India. And as a Buddhist monk, he actually went all the way to China. And actually, he did it at a very famous place called the Shaolin Temple. And from there, the Chinese developed their martial arts called Kung Fu.
Oh,
You know about that, right? Okay, so actually it seems that Kalaripayattu was the very oldest martial arts form, and almost all the other martial arts practiced in East Asia like China and Japan and Korea, they learned it from Kalaripayattu.
And Kalari Academy not only has Indian students, but some of them are also my Chinese.
That's fantastic.
How's your journey to the art and heritage for the past 6 years?
The art scene and heritage and culture in Singapore has grown into a huge thing in Singapore that so many Singaporeans are interested in. So when I was growing up, nobody talked about heritage, nobody talked about history. Yeah, not many people went for arts classes and things like that. And I would say that this interest in heritage and arts in Singapore actually mirrors Singapore's development in history. Because remember, in the 1960s, Singapore had just become independent. Our government was really focused on just making sure that everyone was educated, people were earning enough money, they had a roof over their heads, and enough food to eat. So in the 60s and 70s, there wasn't much interest in things like drawing, painting, and drama, in culture at all. But as Singapore developed and we became a nation where everyone is earning enough money, we kind of grew into being more interested in the arts. There's a thing called the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Once all your basic needs like food and shelter are taken care of, then we start thinking about higher things. So from the 80s and 90s onwards, I think the government actually started focusing a lot on the arts. And I think in Singapore, we're very lucky. We get a lot of support for the arts and heritage. So for example, if you're an arts company and you're into drama, the government will actually support you by giving you subsidies so that you can focus on developing your drama. And they actually encourage the Singaporeans to buy tickets and actually watch the plays as well. And this has really helped a lot of groups in Singapore to grow and to be sustainable. But for me personally, I was very lucky to get a part-time job as a history tour facilitator in this company, Singapore History Consultants. So I've curated maybe about, I would say, more than 100 different tours, for example. For example, it could be Kampung Glam. And Kampung Glam is where Singapore's history actually begins, because there was a king who used to live in a royal palace in Kampung Glam when the British came. So what you learn in your social studies in your classroom is what we also cover when we take the students out.
I thought that when the king used to live, in the 1960s and 70s, they used that places as farms, and then now they took out a few of the farms because they use it as the art centers.
You're absolutely right. So in Kampung Glam, there are roads known as Jalan Pisang, Jalan Keledek. Okay, so these are fruits that used to be farmed there, and now instead you have arts groups there. And did you know I was so lucky, as part of my work, I actually got to interview the royal family that was living in the Istana Kampung Glam before the government converted the Istana, which means palace in Malay, into the Malay Heritage Centre. So I actually got to speak to the descendants of Sultan Hussein, who signed the treaty with Sir Stafford Raffles in 1819.
Do you hope in the future get the art centers there?
I do think about that quite a lot. And I think that the future for the arts and culture and heritage in Singapore is really very, very bright. We're very lucky that now Singaporeans are generally quite interested in, say, going for a play or an art exhibition or a heritage trail. And a lot of this has come about because Singaporeans have been focusing on making sure that the kankies that actually provide those plays and drama and artworks can make a sustainable living from their business. It's not easy.
Do you have a lot of things to find, like when are you going to next war?
I do. That's a really good question. Because when we decide that, okay, we need to share the history of this part of Singapore, we then have to think, who's going to go for the tour? So for example, to celebrate SG60, Singapore turned 60 this year. Have you heard of the Culture Pass?
Yes.
So that's been a fantastic boost for people like me and my company, because now a lot of Singaporeans are using their Culture Pass to actually pay for the tour. So I think the future for Singapore in terms of the arts and heritage is looking very good.
Kalari Academy actually also has performed on SG60. They were showing, like, in one of the arts center, they did the fight sequence.
Lakshman, I'm really interested to know, how do you actually practice your martial arts? Like you're so busy in school, right?
It's mostly on Sundays, but there are also weekday classes.
And when you are practicing or you're fighting against an opponent in the class, are some of them bigger than you, older than you?
I am the second youngest AD.
How many years have you been practicing Indian martial arts?
Well, 3.5.
Well, Lakshmi, what keeps you motivated to practice? Because it's not just one, but 3 Indian martial arts forms.
My friends and coaches also motivate me to do better. If like it gets tough, I always take a challenge, and my friends also encourage me to better. And coaches and masters will also help me with things I don't.
So it's good to have friends close to you who also learn the same things. I think it's really something very special that you're doing. Your parents proud of you?
Yeah.
Do you think more people will be interested in such forms of art?
Definitely yes. As I already with 500 students in the academy.
500 students. And are they all Indian students?
Not all of them.
But that's great. It's good to know that there are others, non-Indians also learning martial art forms.
Yeah. I know one of the schools they usually have to school to like show what is an Indian martial arts.
Do you wear like a special outfit for this?
When people just join, they let them wear their own shirts for. Like after a while, they leave their form uniforms like the animal poses. They write down the animal and draw them the back of the shoe. After you go to level 2, they give you like this thing called a rag. So it's like one stick in the picture, it's like a rectangle shape. So you have to sew it to the sleeve.
So what rank are you at?
I have 2 rags, between a lemon tree.
So Lakshman, I'm really keen to see some poses. Do you think you could show me some?
Okay. There are 8 animal poses.
Tell you what, let's try the lion pose because we are the lion city.
The whole thing is like this.
Cool. Yes.
Yeah.
And the vulnerable pose?
Baba pose, the mark drawing is something like this. Something similar to
I had. Okay. Did you do something with your hands, don't you? What's that pose about?
it's like some way to defend yourself. Like how a wild boar gets very angry if you do something that he gets really mad. And like it's just coming to attack you. So like it's similarity and I get mad and you know like that.
You're like drawing your claws?
Yeah.
So Lakshman, it was so nice meeting you. So fun talking to you, and I really, really loved hearing about your Indian martial arts. Something that I didn't know much about, and I feel it's so nice that young people are still practicing our culture to the kids.
Thank you also for telling me more about what you do and your work, cultural places. It's very interesting to tell my friends.
Maybe I'll see you on one of our school tours.